I'm really glad you have made until this far, and now it's time to export the files. I'm not going to tell you which settings you should export at. I'm going to tell you what setting is what, and then you can decide for yourself what setting you want to export it. So let's go. First, for example, if I just want to export from here to here, what I want to do, because now if you see my timeline, everything is selected. But if I want to just export from here to here, I would just do out. I would just make an out point. So here you can see that you can select in and out range. So here you just press I if it's not selected, and here you go O. And you can always just zoom in to see if there is no black spot left. So I think there is one left. So I'll just bring it closer to the clip. Okay, and yeah, I would also just bring it closer here. You cannot do it here, so you have to go in the edit page, and then you can also just do in and out points in the edit page itself. Yep, so let's go to the export page. How it works. If you don't want any dramas, you can just go to custom export. You can go browse, but I have selected my export to a specific location, which I already chose in the beginning of this video. But I would go browse, and you can also just do it on desktop. It's really up to you, and you can save it. So now this video can be exported on desktop. I can just do maybe test file 1, and that would be the name of the clip. Sometimes if you want to export individual clips, like for example, if I want to export just this clip as how it is, I want to export this clip individually, then you can select individual clip, and DaVinci would export all the clips individually. It's really handy when someone is color grading the videos. So you can color grade 100 videos, and DaVinci can export all the 100 videos as 100 new clips, not an entire project. That's really handy then. But if you just want a single clip of multiple clips, then that's the option to select. Here with video, first we go through the video option. You can go select tick export video. I usually do QuickTime or MP4, and with MP4 you can select H.264 or H.265 format. So what is the difference between 264 and 265 format? They are called codec, and H.264 is easy to use in any other video editing software because the footage it plays really smooth, but then the file sizes are also really big. But H.265, the footage is a little bit difficult to play on certain systems if it's in H.265 format, but the file sizes are really small. So sometimes, most of the times, if I'm exporting my YouTube videos, which are like 16 minutes, 20 minutes or so, then I choose H.265 because then that gives me the same quality exported file, but the file size is almost 4 to 5 times smaller. So now usually my YouTube videos are, I think if I go in H.265, the final rendered video would be 2 gigabytes, 2 GB. And if I was selecting H.264, then the final video would be around 10 to 12 GB. So if you want to save space, you can go H.265, but H.264 also doesn't have any cons except for the file size. So for the sake of this video, I'll just do H.265. Here I would just select tick hardware acceleration if available. Now, remember I told you to select your timeline as high definition for it to play smooth. Here, DaVinci shows the same resolution, the timeline resolution, which is high definition. But here you can change it to 4K. So if you want, you can do 4K Ultra HD. In the DaVinci Studio paid version, you can also export in 8K, but I usually do in 4K. You also have different other sizes. If you want to export in some lower quality, or if you want to export in a square format, you can also do it. But for the sake of this video, I would just do 4K. Frame rates was the same, 23.976. So I would select 23.976. The quality I would select automatic when I'm using H.264. But if I'm doing H.265, then at the quality I would restrict to 50,000, because in my experience, if I have exported a video in H.265 and if I selected quality automatic, DaVinci does something weird and there are some glitches here and there in the video. And after a lot of research, I have come to this conclusion that if you restrict the quality to 50,000 kbps, kilobytes per second, then the video is of really good quality. So here I would select that, restrict to 550,000 if I'm choosing the H.265 codec. And then in the advanced setting, I don't change nothing. But if you have subtitles, like I showed you before, if you have subtitles, then you can go burn in the video if you want the subtitles to appear in the video. But if you want the subtitles to be exported as a separate file, I go to as a separate file, because sometimes in YouTube I want to upload the subtitle file as well. So then I would do as a separate file, and then I would do .srt. But usually if I want the subtitle to appear in the video, I would just do burn in the video. And I would just select the out point again. For some reason it disappeared, I think because we did something here. So yeah, that was the general setting if you want to take it easy. And then I go to add to render queue. Now it says add higher resolution will render, because we chose the timeline size to be smaller and now we are rendering in higher resolution. Yes, we're gonna do that. And then you can render all. And you can also do like multiple clips. For example, what I do usually with Skillshare classes is that I would edit everything and then everything is in the timeline. So that was one chapter. If, for example, if this is another chapter, right, I would just change the name to test file 2, leave all the settings, and then do add higher render. So now we have 2 files to render. So then what I do is that if I have 10 files to render, I would just select all of them and render all, and meanwhile I'm on a break or so. When I come back, all the files are rendered. But that only when you have to render multiple files. So that was a general export settings. Audio, I don't really do much. I just leave it as it is. From here on, you would just see all the other presets in DaVinci Resolve, what DaVinci Resolve has made to make our lives easier. So you can do H.264, you can change all the settings and see what best for you. But for my YouTube videos, what I do is that I go to H.265. This preset only does one thing. He just selects H.265 here. You can also do it manually, but you do, like if I have to export a YouTube video, I just go H.265. Here I just do 4K, restrict to 50,000, burn into the video. If there is any subtitle, name something and then export. But if you want to have the highest quality output, H.265 was pretty good quality, small file size. But if you want to have the highest quality output, then you can export in ProRes. For example, as I told that if I have to color grade individual clips for a client and give them all the clips after color grading, not the project file, but all the individual clips, then I would export the clips in ProRes 422 HQ, because then my client would get really high quality, big file size videos. And when they import that big file size videos in their computer, the sizes would be quite big, but how it would play on DaVinci or any other video editing software would be super smooth. So here, ProRes, you can do same thing. You can go ProRes, different options. Apple ProRes 422 is the biggest file size. As soon as you go to 422 proxy, it's the smallest file size. But if I have to export in the highest quality with the biggest file size ever, then I would do for ProRes. And then you can also select 4K. I wouldn't change anything here, and then export subtitles. And then you also have this little YouTube format, like the format which works the best and easiest for YouTube is this one. But yeah, these are all the presets what you can use if you want to. But what I have showed you before, this basics, everything is related to the basics, and in each preset, just some of these basics are changing. You can also do for TikTok. So for TikTok, and also if you wanted to export this vertical video, where it was the dancing video. Yeah, so if I go here in and out, and if I go to export, and if I want to export vertical video, what I do usually go to custom, and here I would just do vertical resolution. So if I do vertical resolution, then my image wouldn't have these black bars, even if I have exported it. Same thing you can do in TikTok as well. So you can also make your own preset. TikTok, they recommend 1080p. DaVinci recommends 1080p as well. I don't do all of this because this is only if you have to export the videos into Premiere. And if you want to export just the audio, then there is another preset as well. So export video is ticked out, audio is selected. So if you just want to export the audio and the format is WAV, which is the highest export settings. So I hope that the export settings are a little bit clear to you. It's not that complicated, but yeah, you should know the basics of what all these settings are before exporting anything. So yeah, most of the things I don't change. The only thing I change is the timeline resolution. And if I have to export it as a vertical video, then I do as a vertical video. And this one restrict to 50,000 if I am exporting in S.265. And last thing what I do is that subtitles burn into the video if there are subtitles in DaVinci. So yeah, I think that was it from the export panel.